Me, I'm gonna do it different. I'm gonna be practical. I'm gonna give it to you as is. I'm gonna state not just the benefits that you see in black and white that they talk about, but the hardcore reality, the challenges, the pros, the benefits that people actually experiencing, and the facts. Okay, I'm gonna talk about it here. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome back, guys. This week in this video, so far I've been doing a lot of sit downs. I haven't done any vlogs in a while because this space, you know, it's all about the journey, the growth for persons who want to move to Canada. The things nobody tell you. People are not as open as I am to talk about their experience. Some people just want to paint this nice dazzle picture. No, I'm going to tell you all the good with the bad. So in this week's video, we are going to talk about a comment I received, and I want to talk about it because this video is about Canada versus the US. Let's get into this video, guys. So I did a video, I don't know if you have seen it before or seen it yet. We are talking about survival jobs and how it was hard, right? And someone commented, she gave me a nice long comment. Thank you for your comment, by the way. And before I read the comment, I will ensure that I say I wanted to reply to this comment, but I was like, no, I have to do a video about it, because when I tell you this subscriber, this person, like, honey girl, you hit the hammer on the nail head. But there were just some parts where I'm like, you're right, you're so right, but then the reality is this, right? So before further ado, let me get into this comment. I'm so happy to make this video, and I can tell I'm going to enjoy this video, and I really hope you enjoy it too. If you're watching this video, tell me what you think. I want your response, I want your feedback. What do you think? Canada versus the US. Tell me what you think, and if you chose the US, why you chose the US over Canada. So the comment was, Canada don't value education. You are in the wrong country. USA value education more. You will never do a survival job in USA with your engineering degree. The higher qualification you have in the US, the faster you move up. It is sad to see so much immigrant coming to Canada with bachelor's, master's, and even PhD degrees and doing survival job. That is just stupid. That was her comment, and I don't know if that was her tone, right? I don't know what the tone was of this, but thank you so much for your comment. She does have a point in some way. But then at the end of the day, I have to put myself in a situation that I am a student. Given that I was coming as an international student, I looked at which country one had more benefits for me as an international student compared to the other. So for example, if you don't know, in USA, international students do work 20 hours just the same as students in Canada. Canada, however, wins here because as an international student in Canada, you can work on and off campus without permission from the university. In America, however, as an international student to work off campus for your 20 hours, you must get permission from the university, and also it must be something within the program that you're doing. I think that was clear when I was looking at the pros of both countries, and I was saying, okay, it's better I go where I can work off campus without permission of any school, right? At the end of the day, it's still 20 hours, right? That was one. And for me personally, doing certain jobs, and that's the thing that you say, US values education, because while US will allow you to work off campus, it must be something in your field of study. That's how much they do value your education and what you're going to offer to the labor market. They do value education. Not saying that Canada doesn't. Canada does value education. But the fact is, or the fact of the matter is, that if you haven't noticed, Canada is kind of following in the US step. They are new to this whole immigration thing. Well, they're getting more and more pro. US set the record for immigration, right? And so they learn, so they grow. Look, no, Canada is allowing international students to work 40 hours because they see where they do have the demand, the labor shortages, but for some reason, employers are not hiring students with 20 hours. So you know what the government said? Okay, let's give them 40 hours. Employers have no reason now not to hire international students who are here with the qualifications, right? So when you say Canada don't value education, that is not necessarily true. It's not that they don't value education, but the country as a whole is new to immigration, to certain immigration policies, and they're learning as they go along. And I know persons here who came, and on their 20 hours they were doing jobs that are in their field. You have people who got that opportunity. For me, I'm in engineering. Engineering employers require you to at least have 40 hours. It's not that they don't value your expertise, they do. It's just that they want 40 hours. Know that we can work 40 hours. I see where I get more opportunities. I see where I'm getting more recruiters reaching out to me. But that's just it. And I do understand what you're saying also, because I do hear the stories of many people, I think Canada more than the US, many people who come to Canada and before they could get their good job, they had to be doing other survival jobs. And it's a problem that I think Canada as a country have to work on, right? And I think with time they'll get there. They're trying, so they'll get there. But until then, if you're coming here as a new immigrant, like she pointed out, I don't like to tell people this because I like to say aim for the stars, right? But be prepared that you might have to, worst case scenario, worst case, that you might have to work survival jobs. But don't let it be your first option. Try to apply for professional jobs. But just in case it doesn't work out, do not knock any job. Nothing is wrong. You'll learn from anything that you do and you'll grow for it. The thing with USA though, well, for me personally, when I was making my decision, US, the benefits as an international student in Canada, where you can take your spouse with you and they get an open work permit, in the US they do not offer that. They were offering me to take my spouse with me, but he could not work in the country, but he could stay as long as I'm staying, but he just could not work. And if he wanted, he could do like a vocational course to upgrade, but in terms of going to school for him to get a master's degree, he could not do anything like that. He would have to apply for a student visa also. So with that being said, ding ding, again, Canada win. So for the first point, in terms of with education, US and Canada, I don't want to give US the point, and I don't want to give Canada. Canada is learning, so maybe, yeah, Canada is learning, so let's give US that point. But when it comes to spouse, right, if you have a spouse, and especially moving to a new country, you're going to need all the resources you can have in that time. Canada creates a better opportunity for your spouse because you're getting an open work permit. And even if he has to do a survival job for funds, even if he has a degree, that's money coming in. In US, instead of just sitting and looking, that's no money coming in and just money going out. But in Canada, you still have the opportunity to get a good job. For example, my spouse got a good job here. You have to keep trying. Everybody's situation, everybody's journey is different, so you just have to keep trying. So 1 point there for Canada with spouse. The next thing in Canada, the third biggest thing, you know the pathway you need to take, or the different immigration pathway to get permanent residence here. You don't have to be dependent on an employer, right? But they do have where you can use your employer. It's such an easier route. In the US, it's dependent on an employer, right? You need an employer at the end of the day in the US. And for me, I didn't want to leave my immigration journey at the end of the day up to an employer. In Canada, if the employer choose not to sponsor us, well, you have the official government immigration thing where you can get through with that. So a point goes there. In the US, I've heard stories where people go to the US. Yes, they did get employed and get good money, but then at the end of it, with the whole H-1B and lottery thing that the US has, even though your employer is willing to sponsor you, if you were not selected in that draw, you have to try again. And then trying again and you still weren't selected, then you have to reconsider either going back home or decide to go for your master's, especially if you did a bachelor's. But they say if you are doing a master's, you have a higher chance, right? Well, this might be true. I just do not want to leave my immigration pathway to chance, just a chance, because when you're when you're moving to a new country, it is a lot of money. It is a lot of money that you have to invest, and you don't want to leave that to chance. So maybe if America changed that policy, they would have been a greater contender for me. But at the time, that was their policy, and I wasn't going to leave my thing to chance. Stay in your son work survival jobs. I say right here. I'll go over there where they value education, but then your permanent residence or a green card, not sure. No. I'm staying right here. Nobody wants to spend all that money. I've met more than 2 persons in my lifetime who went to the US, did master's degree, and they had to go back home. And it's not that they weren't qualified, but they just weren't selected. And then with their student loans increasing, they just did not have any more money to take another student loan to go do PhD. And then they had to go back home. I don't want that. I don't want that. I want things to work out. I will do the work. Even if it's harder, even if I gotta make my way, crawl my way there and do what I gotta do, I will sweat, work hard, and get the goal at the end of the day. And I don't mind doing survival jobs. Like I told you, I did it so much till I reached the point where I said I'm not doing it anymore, because it was no longer about building character. Because I don't mind doing it. It helps to build character. But when you see sometimes the treatment that you get is unfair. It is unfair, and I understand where she's coming from. It is not fair, especially to educated people such as myself. It is not fair, but that's when you need to know your values. You need to know, okay, I'm not going to do this. I will not do this. So you try to find another way. And trust me, if you keep trying to find another way, you will find another way. Because it's people who have faith and believe and keep trying will ultimately be successful. Because in life is unfair. And I won't lie, coming to Canada teach me things. And I will learn so much that maybe if I went to the US, I would not have learned. I had to do about 5 different survival jobs till I had to make a choice to say, you know what? I know my value. I'm not going to do this anymore. And for me, I count that as a risk factor. It was something that I weighed coming here. It was something that I weighed to say, what if I didn't get any job? So I had to be financially prepared. And that's something that the government of Canada tells you. How much money are you coming to Canada with? You're supposed to come to Canada with at least 1 year of expenses, right? And I did follow that. And when I tell you to try to plan for that, I'm just telling you, be realistic, because when you come to Canada, unlike the US, it probably is harder for you to get jobs. It's just the truth. I remember working in the US when I was in the US, I could get jobs like this, especially when you have your papers and you have your social security number and everything is legal. You can get work like this. That is the truth. But at the end of the day, when that is up and your ass ain't secure, then you're going to be going through some I didn't want that for myself. So I didn't want to put myself or my family at risk in that situation. Remember, I was coming from Jamaica with good experience, a good job, right? I just did not want to put myself in that situation. I will take my time over this side and do what I have to do, because at the end of the day, there is a pathway that you can work your way to, right? And if it's not working out in one province, there are so many other provinces in Canada who needs people and willing to sponsor and help you. So Canada win again. You see racism, the difference with Canada and the US, and I prefer the US for this. Someone who is racist in the US will tell you outright to your face, freedom of speech. I prefer you tell me to my face and I'd be like, okay, cool, no problem there. So 1 point for the US. Canada, they will smile at you. Like, I don't like that. Some people actually prefer that, but for me, as long as you don't touch me, but you speak, you can speak. It's freedom of speech, honey. Anybody can say anything you want, right? I prefer you saying it to my face than acting like an hypocrite. And I did not know that until I got to Canada. Back in my home country, I would be saying 1 point to Canada, because Canada is not a racist country and it is very strict on that. If you notice, in Canada, it's not no African Canadian like in America. It's African American. No, it's just Canadian, period. So back then I would have given that 1 point to Canada, but being here and realizing that Canada is actually filled with immigrants, and then some of these same immigrants are acting racist. You know, some of these immigrants, some, not all, you have nice people here and you do have genuinely nice Canadians, but you do have some people who come here from different countries, immigrants like me and you, and then they are racist towards you because your skin color is darker, you have more melanin, so they act a certain way, but they know they can't say anything because of the law here in Canada to protect everyone to be equal. So the fact that they do have the law, yay, thumbs up. But for me personally, I give the point to the US. Yes, it's more racist there, but you know who is racist against you. Here in Canada, you don't know. People will say what you don't know can't hurt you, but it can. It can. So I don't know. For me, I give it the point. Where would you put your point? I don't know. I give it a point. Yeah, them racist, but it's vocal. You know what you're walking into. That's a big thing. When you know, you know. When you don't know, that's when you need to worry. That's what I think. One of the other things about Canada, they'll tell you, employers will say Canadian experience, and it goes back to jobs. America, they don't really do that, like, oh, American experience. They'll give you the work. If you have the education and the experience, they'll give you the work. America, I'm telling you, once you're straight, you have the qualification and the experience, you'll get the work. It's like she said, you can move up faster because America is the godfather of immigrants. But Canada, they have a style where they'll tell you, oh, you need Canadian experience. And that makes no sense, because if you don't give the person the opportunity, how will they be able to grow or move up in the company? Another thing with job opportunities and education, you realize that Canada, everything, they are highly built on education. So it could be security guard, it could be hairdresser or a barber. Everything in Canada, you need certification. You need education. That's why in some way I don't want to say that Canada don't value education, because down to their system, it doesn't matter the trade, the skill, you need qualifications, you need certification, right? So in that aspect, Canada, if you have an education, in terms of job opportunities, you're competing with so many other educated people, so it's a bit harder. It's not as quick or fast paced to move up like America. it's that society where they drive self-made business type. If you have your qualifications, you'll move up. Employers will gladly take you. Move up, you get the job done, we pay you, move on. So America get that point. But in Canada, everyone here, it's an educated society. As a black person, you gotta work twice as hard. And I think that's the same in America too, whether you want to believe it or not. You gotta work twice as hard to get half of what people who are white or have this high complexion has. That's just the truth. It's sad, but it's the truth. So in terms of the job opportunities, America does have more job opportunities. In terms of your pay, America, you do earn more because the dollars, right? You do earn more. So America get the point there. Right now, America is leading with the points. But in terms of housing market, where I am at, I would say both countries are tied here because it depends on your location in America too. Some states and provinces are more expensive than some. So it depends on where you're at. In terms of weather conditions, Canada is way colder. Canada is cold. I was in the US 2 weeks ago. You really don't know. And I could literally wear like what I was wearing. I was like, are you cold? And I'm like, surprisingly, no, I'm not, because you get used to Canadian cold. Canadian winter is like no other. So America get the points there again. In terms of opportunities, your education value, in terms of open-mindedness, America wins there. Weather conditions, America wins there. But in terms of immigration, like the PR pathway, your permanent residency pathway, Canada wins. In terms of your spouse and your benefits that your family can get, Canada wins. In terms of family, if you're big on family, Canada wins. Canada has a national holiday that's like a family day, right? Canada values family. With even in the workplace, you can see that Canada values family. If you're a female and you're starting and you're looking to go into your childbearing age, I would say choose Canada because you can get more time off to stay with your family and help them grow, right? So Canada gets the point there. So at the end of the day, if you want to count up all these points, it's just that it depends on what you value. And for me, I value the fact that when I'm finished, or when I can get my permanent residence. I can figure a way out to become a permanent resident. I can also know that family wise, I can spend more time with my family when I decide to start having children. That's important to me. I'm big on family. And also in terms of my spouse being happy he can work from the get-go, that is a plus for me. And the other things about Canada, yes, the weather might be bad. Yes, I might have to work some survival jobs in the beginning, unlike America, but I'm okay with that. At the end of the day, it's what you're okay with. I'm okay with that. What are you okay with, right? That's the real thing. My biggest thing for me is that I want my family to be happy. I want to be happy. I want my spouse to be happy. And I want to know that when I finish spending all this money, I do not have to be uncertain or unsure about my immigration pathway. I value that. I really value that. And because I wasn't in a position where an employer was going to sponsor me straight from Jamaica to Canada or America, I knew I had to take the international student pathway. So for me, I am okay with that. I understand where she is coming from, but at the end of the day, to each his own. There are different things in different countries. Like, it just depends what you value. For me, I don't like the survival part, and I think maybe the government need to, and they are trying. That's the thing. They are trying, right? And employers too, they are trying to. They are new to it. They are learning as they go along. In time, it gets better, and it's because persons like myself, we come here, we get certain experience and do certain things. Then that's how they learn. So that's okay. We're learning. I understand what she's saying, and I thank you so much for your comment. But at the end of the day, for me, we're learning, and it's sad. I agree, it's sad, but it's just a part of the learning curve. And yeah, I really want. When I saw it, I know just typing a comment would not answer it, because I know so many persons don't even look at it like that, or look at how I looked at it in so many different angles. And it's when you look at it like that, then you see why. Because at the end of the day, the truth is, when you come into a new country as an international person, it's expensive, and most of us that we're coming, it's our last money we have. We want to ensure that when we spend that money, we have a way out. And that's the problem with US. You don't want to spend all of that money and then you don't. Nobody wants to do that. So because of that, then we're going to come here, do what we have to do until you make it out. And I want to tell you something. Many people, when they come here, they realize how hard it is, and then they end up leaving, right? But the thing is, somebody told me once, Canada will break you before it makes you. And I won't lie, it really can, or it really will. If you don't stand up strong, it will break you until you eventually make it. But when you make it, you're happier, because some of these benefits that you have, you won't have them in the US. I think the US, maybe you get 3 weeks off with your family. In Canada, you're getting like, you can get up to a year and more with your family after giving birth, right? I want that. And there are so many other benefits here too that is really good. At the end of the day, it depends what you value. And for me, like I said, coming here, the luxury of maybe taking that chance, because okay, I'm going to make a certain amount, so choose America. No, I didn't want to take that chance. I'm sorry, I didn't want to take that chance. I like it here. I really like it here. I love it here. I want to be a permanent resident of Canada one day. I love it here. I love it here. So it has its good and it has its bad. They are working on it, and they are trying, and I see where they're trying, and for that I want to say thank you. Thank you, Canada. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you. And everyone else who is planning on coming here, or trying to decide, look deeper into Canada. Look what benefits you here. Look the benefits that you can get. Look into it, because there are so many, right? And hey, America is right there. I drive across the border when I feel like. If I feel like I need to look at American oxygen, I go over there and then I come back home. Let me know what you think. That's it for my video. Thank you so much for watching this video. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscription button, leave a like, and don't forget to leave a comment and tell me, are you confused, wondering, America, Canada, higher currency, lower currency, more job opportunities, getting there in the job opportunities, more family here, less family here. Most of us don't have many families in Canada, but we have more family in the US, right? We do. But let me know. Tell me your reason why you chose Canada, or why you're planning on coming here. Tell me, what's your main reason? Anyways, bye.